And that's the camera too, in case we're live now. I don't think we are yet. Hi, everybody. We're coming live. My name is Chip Paul, and I'm the Chief Innovator here at New Pharma, which means that I get to do some fun stuff and come up with some fun ideas. And we're very lucky to be joined today again by OK Canna Moms. We had, you'll recall, Maddie Badgewell on last week, I believe, or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And then Christa McElroy is Maddie's friend, and they've started OK Canna Moms together. And so we'll probably have some questions about OK Canna Moms as we move along.
Okay.
But I wanted to, we're going to talk a little bit about, more about kind of the New Pharma model and kind of under that model, how we're able to formulate and do things, that help, help situations. But it's a little different way of looking at maybe potentially, pharma type situations or medical situations. And we just approach things a little different. And then we have a little bit different solutions that potentially work. So we want to kind of talk through that today. But, Christa has very graciously agreed to come, and she has 2 children who have very unique conditions that are both being helped by New Pharma Science and TrueMedix products. So we're going to get into that. But before that, why don't you tell us a little bit about you? So tell us, where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I grew up half of my adolescence in Kiefer, Oklahoma. And then I moved to Palmdale, California. And as a young adult, I moved to Wagner, Oklahoma, and I've lived there for the last 15 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So very good. Very good.
Yeah.
So, and Wagner is a great community. Is it, and Wagner's kind of somewhat embraced medical cannabis, haven't they, as a community?
Yes.
So, yeah. So
there's quite a bit going on there.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. So, so let's go ahead and just get right into, I guess, Bubba so you might talk a little bit too about OK Canna Moms and what you guys are trying to do with the OK Canna Moms platform, you and Maddie. And so let's kind of get into that a little bit. And
you want to do the OK Canna Moms first?
Yeah, let's do the OK Canna Moms first.
Okay. For OK Canna Moms, we are actually just a pediatric-based blog right now, but we are trying to become a nonprofit. We are helping the pediatric community with just resources wide, not just cannabis resources, all statewide resources for all special needs children.
Okay.
We do focus on helping them obtain information on cannabis treatment and their medical cards for their children, if that is what they choose, the route they choose to go to.
Yep.
Then we have the CBD and the CBG, all of the New Pharma resources on there. We're just really trying to break the stigma and get it out there. And we, like Maddie had said before, our first option was not cannabis for our children. Our first option was, pharma. Yeah. And that's all we had. And, we want other people to have that option. We want that to be their first option. Yeah. Something natural to be their first option, not just straight to big pharma and put your kid on this. And
that's one of the things that you guys kind of talk about, I know, on the page, is that here's what happens. And again, you and Maddie both have an autistic child, but then you also have a child with other situations that we're going to talk about. But autism is a thing that they talk about a lot on the page. But one of the things that happens with autism is if you go to a physician, if you go in the pharma route, right? Well, first of all, with autism, it's just there's all of if you're a mom or a dad, all of the stuff that comes along with just being an autistic parent, and you guys really help with that. And it just, it's okay to get mad. It's okay to be frustrated.
A support system.
Absolutely.
Really, that's the most important is support, because we don't always have it. Even when we have big families. Yeah. In this world, in the autism world, in the special needs world, sometimes you don't have the support. And it's nice to know that you can go on here and that there's people out there just like you. Yeah. It really is. It's a comfort.
Yeah. And it's really cool, what they do. And if you have a special needs situation, go join the group, because they're really helpful in kind of how they present things. But if you do have an autistic child, and you've been through this, because everybody goes through the same stuff, is you either get a very good physician who understands autism, and he's going to treat that situation with like a Ritalin or a Adderall and things like that. And that's more you're going to get cognitive progress with that type, or cognitive stability potentially, you know, with that kind of treatment. But potentially you might also get the physician who is looking at behavior, and they start treating the behavior,
Yes.
and they're giving an antidepressant or a, you know, like a Haldol or something like that. And that's the absolute wrong thing. That makes cognition get worse, right? So
it's kind of like battling each other.
Yeah. And so, but you guys really help with that information, kind of helping people. And then I know that you're doing some stuff with THC2. It looks like.
We are.
So what's going on there?
THC2, we're going to be doing a bunch of stuff with them for pediatrics. We're going to be doing some patient drives and just some pediatric events. A lot of stuff coming up that I can't really
talk about,
but
really cool.
We're excited. We love Tulsa Higher Care Clinic. Our biggest thing is we want to find doctors that are out there that are doing this the right way for our children. Not just for all patients and the adult patients, but pediatrics, everybody. Like, we've got to do this the right way. We want the patients that come to us to be treated the right way. We want doctors that we can go in with our kids and say, look, this isn't working, and it's cannabis related, and them not to get upset, because a lot of doctors, you know, they don't know. And it does make them upset, I think. And then it makes us scared to even come out to our doctors. So to have cannabis related doctors that are actually trying to do the right thing and have that establish that patient doctor relationship is so important.
And that's, you know, here in Oklahoma, I mean, we do have it different than any other state. Like in California, you know, you're not, that physician, when he signs your pediatric card, he is not required to keep a medical record on that patient, that child. He's not required to do any kind of follow-up. He's not required to, you have no relationship. It's he's just agreeing with you, right? And that's not the situation we have here in Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, we actually have a defined doctor-patient relationship. So you have a bad outcome with your child, you can sue your doctor, right? And so they have to have malpractice insurance and all that, but they have to have a medical record. And THC2 is really good.
They're so good about it.
Dr. Sims is really good. Evolved is really good. Dr. Bailey is really good.
Dr. Bailey's very good.
So we have some really good physicians. But that's good to know, and that's good to know that. So I think that's great. And you guys can help so many moms and dads, right? And so that's
really cool. All we want to do, because it is rough. We just want to help kids. We want to help parents. We want to just be a support and a resource.
So let's talk. Well, first of all, let's get this kind of out of the way so we don't get kind of distracted, if you will, with this. But THC definitely works for autism, and THC is a good solution, you know, for autism. But that you may or may not be in a situation where you can use THC. So let's talk a little about Bubba, and then we'll talk about the product a little bit in a second. But let's just talk about him and kind of his situation. Then you might talk a little bit about the THC, and you know. I have a question for you. Did you ever see, I know you got stability with THC, but did you ever see cognitive improvement with THC?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Okay. He has been on THC for a while. Quite a while. I guess he is now, since on THC, he has become so much more verbal. It has been, he now this year for the first time told me his ear hurt. Like, he is verbal, but he's not, I don't consider him completely verbal, because if someone were to hit him or something, it's not, the communication quite isn't there to where he would be like, Mom, someone hit me. It's not quite like that. It comes and goes. But it's coming, and it's there now a little bit, you know, and I've also managed to completely potty train him. And so he's 10 with severe autism and completely potty trained.
And that's a big
it's huge
deal.
And he's been potty trained for about a year now. Without cannabis, I don't think that was possible. But putting in the focus with it, with the CBD and the CBG, I've just noticed he's not so stony. He's not so, he can focus. Like, it's almost like it completely evens everything out for him. Like, I feel like I wish I would have been doing it this whole time.
But we didn't know, right? So we didn't know.
But just like the piano thing, like, he can actually now sit down and focus. And he played part of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star from sound. Like he'd never done that in his life.
So and you might kind of describe that he was able to early on, he could play a little bit of piano, and then he kind of lost that.
Yeah.
You might just kind of describe that, because that was a really cool, and this is kind of and again, if you're a big fan of THC for autism, I'm sorry. I mean, it's THC's definitely works for autism. But the cognitive improvement that we're going to see with the Focus product,
and I've already started to see it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like just putting his hands on the keyboards and turning his head and listening to those sounds. He wasn't even watching his fingers.
Yeah.
He was completely like, it was amazing, because little things like that doesn't happen for us.
And like a year ago, he would have gone up to or a month ago or 2 months ago, I guess, he would have gone up to the piano and sort of banged on it.
Oh yeah. Before 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Before Focus, he would have still been the toddler. He's just kind of boom, 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 boom. He's always liked piano like that.
Yeah.
But never has he taken his fingers and sat there and focused and listened and played a tune like that.
Are you seeing him kind of make more connections, like when you're talking to him, or are you seeing him?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely.
Good.
He's the commands, like following commands, has definitely been a lot better. Just focusing and less meltdowns, because I have to do a list for him every day. He goes off a list of every little thing that he does, from wake up to bath to, I have to have a list, because if it's not on the list, then, it's kind of a visual thing.
Yeah.
So he reads off the list every morning. And if
does he check it off, the list himself?
He reads it himself.
Okay.
But if he doesn't like it, he tries to, erase it or whatever. But yes. And so I've had to use like permanent markers, because he will go erase what he doesn't want and try to write it in. But now I've noticed that, like, in the mornings, instead of seeing something he doesn't want, like going to school or this or that, it's not automatic. Freak out. He reads it, he whines a minute, he reads it again, he hands it to me, he gets up and he does what he has to do.
Okay, that's different.
So that is a big improvement.
Yeah. And he's in therapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there are like the therapist saying that she's seeing like some kind of
yes, definitely. She, for the last, oh my gosh, like 2 months, he has improved so much at school. Like elopement has went down so much.
Okay.
Which he's a big eloper. He doesn't know fear.
Okay.
So like if he can get out somewhere, he's gone. Like it doesn't matter where it's at. But lately it's just been like, I feel like his body is calm for a second,
Yeah.
Like he can focus and he can.
I can only imagine what it must be like. But the problem here is not to get too pharmacological, but you have a CB1 neuroreceptor and you have an anandamide, and this is the way your body does work. Autistic people have two major problems. They don't have enough of this, and they have too much of the controlling enzyme that basically sweeps this guy clean. So you can imagine you can't make a kind of a controlling bond, in certain areas. So it just must be like almost like listening to static all the time, right? Mm-hmm. And it occasionally something will get through, but that is the hope here, that we can cut down the static, and then you can get your child back.
It makes sense, because now I feel like he can focus enough to control his emotions and not completely break down.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's not too debilitating for him at that moment.
And if you look at, if I wanted to kind of wreck you as a human, and I could dysregulate you, you kind of go through stages, right? Mm-hmm. So you go through, and the kind of breathing and toileting and things like that would be kind of the lowest, but having control of your emotions, and you could kind of build up that tree. And that's what we want to do, right? We want to get him kind of higher and higher up that tree, and the same with Caden and everybody who we're working with, right?
All the kids.
Yeah. So, and I think that that's really going to happen. It just, the thing will be, how far can we get it, right. And that's going to be the really cool thing, because nobody that I've ever heard of has made this much progress with autism yet. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, that's kind of cool. And
yes, very. So, it's amazing.
So we'll kind of see where
life-changing,
where we can take it. Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about Kerrigan,
okay.
Right?
Yes, Kerrigan.
Okay. So tell me about Kerrigan.
Kerrigan is one of my twin daughters. She is 16 years old, and Kerrigan has selective mutism. And a lot of people haven't ever heard of that. And when you say selective mutism, a lot take it as a joke, like, oh yeah, your kid's selectively mute. She really is. It's a severe
clinical,
it's a severe
yes.
anxiety
Yeah.
disorder.
Yeah.
She is, we always thought, at first she was just the shy twin. Her sister always talked for her and everything. And, she did some counseling and stuff, and it never really changed ever. And, man, I don't even think she was in middle school before anybody ever heard her voice, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's very debilitating for her.
Was she on a plan?
An IEP?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's on an IEP.
What age did she get put on a?
She got put on an IEP in middle school.
Okay.
And because that's when it came where you actually have to talk in school, and you have to, socialize and do presentations. And so that's when it really came about. And we put her on an IEP, to protect her so she could have ways to speak with, talk to her teachers, not even talk to them, communicate with them without talking to them.
Yes.
It's
could she, if she was in just a one-on-one with a teacher,
no.
she couldn't.
No.
She couldn't talk.
No. Yeah. Not physically, not whatsoever. Physically, I would watch her and nothing she would try. It could not physically come out of her mouth.
Okay. And just so you guys kind of know too, it's extreme anxiety.
Extreme anxiety disorder.
And
yes.
It's so much so that you literally
cannot talk.
Speak. Yeah.
And we've tried everything. We tried therapies, we tried counseling. She was on pharmaceuticals, all of that stuff. Nothing ever really worked. It did help a little bit when she joined the color guard. She finally had a little bit of socialization, but still an anxiety attack every day at school.
Yep.
For her entire school career since preschool.
Wow.
Until
every day.
Every single day.
Okay.
At least once a day.
Okay.
Until this year.
Okay. So
her junior year of high school.
Let's talk a little bit about
me cry.
Kind of what happened. No, it's awesome.
It's so cool. So she is on the relax and the focus.
Okay.
And she's like, Mom, I'm okay. She called me from school. I'm gonna cry.
It's okay.
And she was like, I'm expecting, Mom, I need you to come get me every day. Nope. Guess what, Mom? I'm having an amazing day. No anxiety attack. Guess what, Mom? I think I'm ready to talk in front of my classes.
Really?
I want off my IEP.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, we can work on that. Let's not jump yet, But for the first time in all of her school career as a junior in high school, she can actually enjoy school and not physically be sick. That's because amazing. Of your product. So I thank you. And she thanks you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So that is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
So thank you. That means the world to me. And
it does us too.
Yeah.
It's amazing to watch.
And this works not because of any magic, not because of any, it works because we have a model of human function that we work under this thing called the endocannabinoid system, and things like selective mutism are just resources. It's just resources. Our body can't run without resources. And when you present those resources, we're able to mediate whatever problems we have, be that autism or selective mutism or whatever, selective mutism, yes. Or whatever that is, right? So that's really, really cool. And I didn't know, so you kind of surprised me with that one. I didn't know how much progress was being made. But the nice thing too about all of these cases is, again, they're all documented. So it's, there's data here, and there
is.
And most of the time we don't get that. We just get anecdotal, especially with cannabis stuff. Even on an IEP, or even with like Bubba
ABA therapy with the graphing and
stuff. Yeah. I mean, when you started kind of using cannabis and when it changed for him, but the therapist may or may not even recognize that and all that. But with this product, again, this is legal nationally, and the focus product, so it can,
which I love, because I have lots of friends in other states that have been asking, because it's not legal there. What can I do to help my kid? What can I do right now?
Yeah.
You can do this right now.
And that's,
I love that. I love that everybody has access to it. And it's something that, it's medicine. It's helping.
Yeah.
It's truly helping.
And the other thing, and again, I don't want to sort of beat at home here, but the stuff with TrueMedix, or the stuff that New Pharma, I guess the science that New Pharma has that we would put into the TrueMedix formulations, it's all safe. And so, let's say you have a child that's 3 or 4 and you're trying this on a child. Again, you want to know that you have that high safety of something. Let's say they drank the whole bottle or something. Again, fine, nothing's going to happen. You're going to fall asleep and sleep really well, then you'll wake up and you'll be fine.
Unlike anything else that is in your medicine cabinet. Right. I mean, even your cough syrups and your Tylenols and everything like that.
You have safety issues.
And there's always a safety issue or a side effect.
It's again, there's a whole new paradigm in medicine coming. In order for this to happen, right, this kind of has to get into the university world and all that. And, again, we hope to do that. I mean, we are doing that. So we're University of Mississippi and all that. So we hope to kind of get a lot bigger audience for all this. But it's nice to know that you guys are there. Yes. And that, it's just really fun for me when I'm a theorist, and when it actually works,
and you get to see it.
I get to see it.
Yes.
Yeah, and
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So okay, Canna Mom. So what do you guys? Is there anything that you need us to help you with, like support you in, or I guess we'll kind of figure that out as we go along. Maybe that's what we're going to talk about later.
Probably.
We don't probably need to do that on Facebook Live, but we want to do that obviously, and we want to help you guys with your mission and continue.
We just love you guys. You guys have been such a great support for us.
Oh, well, thank you.
You really have.
Thank you. And soon, one thing that we're going to, and again, we can't do this as New Pharma because New Pharma can't cross the green line, but in the facility that we're in under something called the ECS shop, we're going to open a dispensary soon, and we'll do consultative work. So in a very similar way that we've kind of worked with, and not so much you, but really more Maddie. But again, we would have worked directly with you if you're, believe it or not, as severe as her situation is, just the fact that the fact that it was anxiety, it's easy for me. Okay. And I know you've had hell with it, but it just, as far as where it goes in my mind and how to kind of fix it or address it is easier than, Bubba.
For sure.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to do that, consultative type dispensary and stuff like that. Yay. So we, if you have a mom that's really got a unique situation, or
I love that. Then, I love that. That will be so helpful. Yeah. That will be helpful for everybody. Like, oh, that will be so helpful.
Yeah. And it's really, if you are using cannabis with autism, and this, it's delicate because, the kids on the spectrum are so sensitive, right?
They are.
And I mean, they are, where, a gram of something would affect me, 100th of a gram
would affect them. And all of their senses and you can see it, like it's because it is so much more than ours. And
they're just, again, their everything in them is just, tuned up to the max. But like when you're doing, and again, THC will work as a solution. It is a good solution, but you have to be careful. You have to be careful with this CBD content. You have to be careful with the terpenes because those modify, and they're so sensitive that that's going to make a big difference.
Huge difference.
So you guys kind of help with that, and I know you guys have data and all that on what you've seen kind of work and not at OK Canna Moms, right?
We sure do.
But we want to, when we open this dispensary, not as New Pharma, we're not going to cross the green line, but as the other companies, we want to, get with you guys and work with you guys, really.
Yes, we'd love to.
Data is.
We would love to.
King.
We love that. We want to just help in any way we can.
Okay, good.
No problem at all.
All right. So have we missed anything?
I don't think so.
All right. So if you guys have questions, absolutely leave them in the thread, and Christa or I will answer them. And thank you very much for coming on. This is so good. And I just, it means the world to me that, it's just, we're having good results. And,
yes, me too.
That's good. So anyway, see you guys.
Bye.
Thank you.